I am joined by my old friend, Craig Ferguson, today.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Hey, Craig.
Hey.
It's been a while. It's been like a year. I used to work with Craig on his Sirius show, the
Yes.
Craig Ferguson radio show.
Yeah. That was
and
good times, wasn't it?
Yeah, Craig, it were great times. And what's really weird is when we worked together on it, I only really heard Craig because he was in L.A. and I was in New York. So when I see you in person, it still feels very strange to me.
Does it freak you out a little
bit?
Because do I not look like the way that you imagined me in my? Do I feel like taller or maybe
Way
older?
taller. Way taller.
People imagine me short. So I've had people come up to me and go, "Wait, I thought you were shorter." I'm like, "How big's your TV?" That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, it's kind of frightening, but it's intimidating. And then I realized how beautiful you are in person.
Okay.
And then I calmed down.
Okay, that's good as long as it has a calming effect on you. Sometimes people can be intimidated, but you're okay.
I'm okay. And it helps, too. We're in your beautiful hotel room seeing Central Park.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
Out there.
So today's a big day for Craig because his book, Riding the Elephant, is out.
Well, that's happening, but the big day is I'm on your show.
That's right.
The big day.
That's right. Sorry, my bad. I messed that up.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I read this whole book.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
You're never going to make it in show business. Unless you were saying what everybody does is that, like, they say that they read the book.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah, okay.
I read the whole
thing. Oh, my
book.
God.
I have time. Don't worry.
Okay.
So I realized reading this book that it's very funny, but it's also a really good blend of very serious.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to know when you were going in to write this book, how you approached that, like, to get that blend. Like, did you want it to come off that way, or was it like, oh, I want this to be fully serious? Or
No, I think what happens is that you write and it comes out the way it's going to come out. You just tell the story the way it is. I think the great freedom of writing something like this is that if you feel like making an observation which is neither funny nor particularly upbeat, you can.
Right.
Know? No one's expecting it. Well, if people are expecting it to be funny all the time, then it's the wrong book. I wouldn't bother.
I think what sums up the book perfectly is there's, towards the end, a chapter about you going to Japan with your son Milo, and you talk about these Japanese toilets.
They're amazing.
Now, I laughed so hard at the line where you said, I left that bathroom a better man than when I walked in. So having that experience, how do you have that toilet set up? Is it at your house now, the same kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. No, I have the Toto. I can't remember the model number, but it is that you walk in and there's a blue light underneath and ready to accept whatever you want to give it.
Wow. So,
It's a beautiful thing.
So there's hope for us Americans to get this in our toilets.
I think that America, if we want to make America great again, we have to start with our toilets. And, I think we have to take a lesson from Japan and get those robot toilets that fire water directly at your poop hole. That's what you need.
I agree. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
But what defines the book to me is that you throw in that hysterical chapter, but it's followed right after by a chapter called Draining the Swamp, which to me was the darkest chapter of the book.
Very dark chapter.
But it was the most riveting to me. And it was interesting because you were saying it was in a time of Christmas 2017 into like January. And I remember we were working on the show together for Sirius.
Yeah.
And I remember from working with you that it seemed like you were upset about something. I didn't know what.
I was in a dark place.
But that's why for me reading it, I thought it was like really inspiring that you opened up about what you were going through.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, was it tough writing a chapter like that for you? Like, did you hesitate? Like, should I pour all this out?
Yeah, I did. I did. That particular one, I kind of like, I wondered whether or not I should go because it is very dark. I mean, I got really down and weird and kind of started thinking about destroying myself, which
Sure.
I haven't really had that kind of thought since I was drinking. So, it was bad. And I had the dental surgery and I've taken the Percocet and stuff. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Tough.
was nasty.
But I think it's so inspirational that you got out of it, and that it shows people, even like people who are super famous and successful like you, go through stuff too. And I think that
Yeah, I think there's a myth that somehow that I used to believe this as well when I was a kid, that I thought if I get on TV, or if I get famous, I won't have to go to the dentist.
Right.
Because I didn't like going to the dentist when I was a kid.
Right.
but you do.
You do. Still got to get root canal surgery.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But it's interesting because you also bring up Twitter at this point.
Yeah.
And you always spoke about it a lot on the radio show. And it says now in the book that you let your manager, the lovely Tomas
is over there. Yeah.
He's the best. He handles it. Is that still the case today? And
Oh,
do you
sure.
feel better
I'm
being
done.
off of it?
No, I'm done. I social media is not for me. It contains. It's that thing Trace Atkins said. You know, it's not. It doesn't. It only takes one person to take a dump in the pool for it to be
Right.
not an appetizing place for me to spend time.
Absolutely.
And I don't. I think you see a lot more and more people. Whenever I say to people, I'm not on social media, or I don't have a browser on my cell phone, which I don't, people go, "Oh, I envy you."
Right.
You know, because I think everyone's starting to feel that a little
Yeah.
bit now. This shit's too dark.
It's dark. Would you say that it's also addictive? Like, do you think it's in that
Yes,
same
I
class?
do. I think it has an addiction. For me, it does. I can't say for other people
Sure.
because I don't know who they are. But for me, yeah, I think it has a. Because I found if by addictive you mean I find myself doing it even although I didn't want to do it, then yes, by definition that's addictive. I would say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good lesson for us, and especially for someone like me and my generation, millennials. Like hearing it from someone like you in a book, I think is great. And I think there's a strong part of this writing you have here is that you're very strong in your beliefs, but you're very open-minded, I feel like. And
Trying to.
And you try to look at new beliefs people pop out there and what you agree and disagree with. You're very honest. So I was wondering, when you were writing this book, did you have in your mind anything about like, oh, I wonder how millennials might react to this chapter or what I'm saying? Like,
No.
Okay.
I don't think you can write a book honestly and worry about what anyone's going to say when they read it.
Right.
I think I'm not focused on millennials in the
Sure.
way that millennials are focused on themselves.
True.
Millennials, I believe, you know, look, you can't, first of all, you can't take a generation of people and say they're all the same. That's absurd. But
Sure.
the idea that they're better than or worse than any other generation, I don't subscribe to that notion. What I do think though is that millennials seem to be to take themselves very seriously in a way which the generation coming after you guys, which is my oldest son's generation, they're not connected to the self-regard in the way that you guys are. I think you're the first generation of social media development, and the next generation up is they wear it very loose and don't take it seriously, and actually I've noticed amongst Milo's contemporaries they tend to stay in their own groups.
Sure.
So it's almost like it focuses back down to, I don't really want to hear from, the weird creepy guy 24, so I'll just stick with my friend.
So you think the generation after me won't have their own YouTube channels and doing all this?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they'll have their own YouTube channels, but
Sure.
I think they seem a little less
Full of themselves.
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
I think I agree with that.
But I think that also the millennial thing was that this is a phrase that we used to joke around with on the radio show, but they say, "Oh, that happened before I was born."
Sure.
That's a millennial phrase. People don't actually say that in human history,
Right.
because human history. So, for example, the Roman Empire happened before I was born.
Sure.
Does it mean the Roman Empire doesn't count to me? On the contrary, or au contraire, as they say in Canada. I think that this self-regard is a product of the first generation of social media, smartphone users. I think the next generation are adapting to it much better.
Okay. I like that. And I think that that also leads to just my generation has to not forget about our history and learn from it.
Far be it from me to say, the trap is as you get older to start, condemning the youth, and I'm not interested in that. There's a great line in the old Bowie song "Changes." These children that you spit on as they try to change their world. There's no. I'm not trying to spit on you as you try to change your world, Steve.
Yeah, I feel you, Craig. Look, you're coming out very gentle, and I love it, and I understand. And a thing too I just want to bring up. You talk about in the book, and I love that you have them, but you're a big fan of ink now and tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought it was so interesting you brought up that you have this thing that someone kind of put on you with the having the odd number of tattoos at any given time.
Yeah.
And then when I read that, I looked at my tattoos and I was like, do I have an odd number? And I feel like it's on me now.
Do you have? Yeah, well, that's
I do, thank God.
Yeah, that's the thing with OCD, magical thinking. That stank gets on you real fast.
Yeah.
It just crawls out. The minute you get rid of some of it, another part of it crawls up your spine. It's bad.
Yeah.
Like I only recently got rid of this magical underpants I had to wear on the airplane. I'm only talking the last 3 flights.
Yeah.
But they were falling off me, these things. It had to happen.
I love that. So Craig, thank you for joining me. This has been a great
This
time.
has been the best of this press tour.
Yes.
This is the greatest show in American media.
Guys,
no
you
doubt
heard it
about
from him.
It
Okay?
is true.
Make sure it's out today, Riding the Elephant, the book. And
You don't have to buy it if you don't want to buy it. It's a book. I want you to know it's there if you want to buy it, but please don't buy it if you don't want to buy it. You're not going to anyway, so I'm not going to try and have unrealistic expectations about what you're going to do. If you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it. If you're not going to buy it, you're not going to buy it. I'm not going to change your mind. I understand that.
can they torrent it?
Can
The
they what?
audiobook? Can they download the audiobook?
Oh yeah, I think there's got to be an audiobook because I spent days reading that fucker into a microphone. So yeah.
Okay, cool. That should be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Craig, till next time I see you, maybe in a year, 2 years, 3 years,
Oh, I think 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, we got a thing coming out in about 6 months, so we'll be back in 6 months. We'll do that there. Will you still be on the air?
I hope so.
Are you on a YouTube? Is
YouTube.
This YouTube.
I hope they don't kick me off YouTube.
Well, they're getting strict about that. Are you
They are.
are you very right wing?
No, I don't put politics in.
Oh, there
so
you're good.
I'm
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Craig.
All right.